As I step into postpartum journey number 3, there have been a lot of questions that people have asked me about what would make this postpartum journey different and what boundaries am I setting and what am I doing? And so I wanted to share a couple of those things with you. And I think even if you're not in a postpartum season, the themes of what I'm sharing are really applicable to any season of life. So I invite you to take those in as well. But this is my first postpartum season as an entrepreneur. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, I've navigated through full time work. But what I've noticed is I have a little bit more choice in different ways this postpartum season. And so I have taken that into consideration of what does it mean to build boundaries around my work schedule? What does it mean to look at our financial goals during this time? What does it mean to really take this on in a way that I do have total control, but I don't have maternity leave? I don't have the same guidance or support financially and structurally that I did historically. And there's pros and cons to that, to be completely transparent. So it's up to me financially to figure out how I'm going to support myself with not working. Because if I don't work, I don't bring in any money. And I don't have a maternity leave or family leave plan that can support us during this time. And then I also have the ability to have maybe a longer postpartum season, work part time, or what does that look like? I'm not worried about sending my child to daycare right now because I can build my schedule and work with my husband to create that. So there's pros and cons on each side, but there are a couple boundaries that I've set in this postpartum season and in past that, again, I think relate to not postpartum as well, but things that I have been really clear about. And so, with all of our children, we have had a rule of not having people in our house postpartum when we come home from the hospital. And this is something I'm so grateful that I started from the beginning. I am a very independent, slightly controlling person, and having my space is really important to me, and having things in a way that lend to me being in a good place mentally, emotionally, all of that. And having control over that allows that. And so while some people don't understand it, luckily most of our family respects it enough to follow through with it. But even with our first, what I said was, I don't know how I'm going to feel. So I want to set the expectation that you won't be seeing us for 2 weeks, and I'll let you know how I'm feeling. Now, with both my postpartum seasons, I actually felt really great. We'll see how this one goes. But my first, I had a regular delivery, and my second was a planned C-section. This will be a planned C-section as well. And I set the expectation of, I don't know how I'm going to feel. So I don't want to have any plans. I don't want people coming to the house. I'm going to want my space. So I'll let you know if I'm feeling different. I highly recommend that in your postpartum season. And outside of postpartum, I highly recommend, if you think you might need your space during a current season, whatever it is that you're navigating, that you're really clear with that and you set that boundary. I have loved that I've done that, and I've set the ability to then say, hey, you know what? I'm feeling great. If you guys want to stop over, feel free to stop over. Here's when would be a good time. It removed any pressure of people bugging me to see how I was feeling, seeing if they could stop by, or showing up unexpectedly, and knowing myself well enough to know that that's what I wanted and needed. Now, I have friends that are on the flip side. They're like, I want my mom to be staying with me, or I want this family member to be here. I want a meal train. I want all these things. There's no right or wrong answer. But what you do need to know is what is going to help you and support you. Now, the tricky part here is if you haven't been there, you don't know. So, in every delivery is different, and every season's different. Again, if you're even applying this outside of postpartum, you don't really know till you're there. But that's where you have to set kind of, here's what I think I'm going to feel like. And then I'm going to be able to switch it up and change it, which is what I did. So we had some hard boundaries around having people in our house. And then I was able to kind of lessen that as I felt better. A couple of the other things that I did is my husband and I were on the same page when it came to food, when it came to support and time. Um, our second child was born during the pandemic. So we chose to have different, like, quarantining around the baby and bringing the kids home early from school. So like my oldest, we pulled out of school 2 weeks early, and then we sent him back 2 weeks early. You can believe whatever you want when it comes to the pandemic, but I didn't know what I was navigating at the time. And that was how we chose to deal with it. Now, with this one, we're kind of doing the opposite. We're really utilizing school to give us the ability to have time alone with the baby. And we, again, know that we can change that and make that decision of pulling the kids out and keeping them home if we want that family time. So it's really being clear on like what season are you in and what are the different boundaries that you want to set in place. Now, when it comes to work, luckily I have a couple contracted team members right now for my business. And they're like, hey, what are you going to need during this time? What support do you need? But what I've chosen to do during this time is I've taken everything off my schedule that can't be on baby's time. So while I still have tasks and I still have things that I look to complete, anything that I'm worried about getting done within a certain timeline, has a specific deliverable, or it's on someone else's schedule, I've taken off my calendar for 2 months. So I will at least have 2 months of a true maternity leave that's not on baby's schedule. And that's really important to me because I know that these times are really precious. And I know that I won't get this time back. And I also know that some days you feel really good and some days you don't. And you don't know ahead of time. You don't know how you're going to be feeling. So I've really been clear with setting up some boundaries around even podcasting or setting up meetings or different deliverables with social media, things like that, to say this is all prepared and ready to go. And I don't have to think about it. I don't have to do anything during that first 2 months. But what I will be doing is, engaging on social media or listening to the podcast episodes I've already recorded or connecting with people that are in our various groups. I will be posting in the app because I like being there. That's, the place that we've created for this real, honest conversation. And I will be present in my business in all those places because my business is part of my life. And I've created a business that tends to motherhood and that I can show up on calls. So I'll be on our community calls and I'll be in different places, but I don't have to be anywhere that's not my space, that's not on baby's time. And so that is the hard boundary I've set around that. And I feel really good about that. And that feels like I can leave space for some magic and whatever else flows my way and rest and however we have to navigate it. Now, financially, we've looked at our different opportunities because we don't have that maternity leave, right? So I did set up some launches to help promote or help navigate different things financially during that time. And we have some other revenue streams that we're focusing on. And we also have what I would call like a plan B. If things don't go well during my maternity leave, how far can we go? How long can I take it? And what do I need to do after that? And I actually think that's a really great way to navigate life in general financially, is being able to set yourself up for here's plan A and here's plan B. And if plan A doesn't go to plan, where does that take us? So it doesn't have to be postpartum. It could be just in general, how you're navigating your finances. And, we have some financial resources in the app that maybe will disagree and guide you a better way. But from our real life lived experiences, something that I have really enjoyed with my husband and I think has got us really far is figuring out what can we do, what should we do, and what do we want to do. And that is really, I think, a theme throughout my postpartum planning is what can I do? What should I do? And what do I want to do? And being able to really find that balance between those things. So there isn't going to be a right or wrong answer for so many of these things for anyone, but those are some of the things that I am focusing on. So I am focusing on being able to be on baby's time. I am focusing on setting any boundaries around visitors or things that I need. I'm setting my husband and I have clear expectations about food and what I'm able to do physically and not able to do physically, what I do and don't want to do. He's helping me be okay with maybe our house not looking the same way it would if I was doing everything. Not that I do everything, but that I'm able to support because he'll be on his own, being able to do that for a little bit as I recover physically from the C-section. And so, being on the same page, communicating, being clear with our expectations and what our boundaries are. And at the end of the day, that is the theme of how I'm navigating this postpartum season, how I'm going into it planning ahead. So, whether you're in business or you're not, I hope that you take some of that to figure out how to make it your own. And if you have any questions, if you want me to dive deeper on any of it, I'm just a message away. You can message me in the Mama Has Goals app. Just search Kelsey and send me a quick message because I'll be in there for sure. So, sending you so much love. I'm also going to link our events calendar down below so you can tap into various events, whether I am out or not. You get to tap into those. So make sure that you're in our community so that you can get access to that as well. Sending you so much love, Mama.